Racheal Cook, welcome to the Brick and Mortar Visibility podcast. So great to see you after finally getting our schedules to align.
I'm so excited to be here and I cannot wait to dive into our conversation.
Yes, we're going to learn a lot about how to market our business and how to optimize our summer and to grow our business through referrals and all the goodness. So I'm super excited to learn from you and have your knowledge be shared with our listeners. Before we dive in, please tell me, Racheal, what did you want to be when you grew up?
This is such a funny question for me to answer because not everybody knows this. I wanted to be a professional French horn player, and actually, my original degree in college was for music performance.
Yes,
And
you're my
I,
people.
that's my background. I started music when I was really, really young,
Oh,
and I, like many people, did not want to do what my parents wanted me to do, which is run a business. Both of my parents are small business owners. But
okay.
what happened was I got into the School of Music and I started accidentally starting
Of
businesses
course you did.
because being raised with entrepreneurs, you kind of get the I can figure it out gene. And if you are in the School of Music, when you get to being a junior or senior, you have to do a senior recital, which is a solo performance, just you and a pianist. And it's a big deal.
Yes.
Like you're wearing the ball gown, you have the whole auditorium filled with not just friends and families, but like everyone from the School of
Your
Music.
peers, yeah.
Yeah. And so afterwards, everybody hosts a reception. And I come from a massive family. So I'm the oldest of 15 cousins. My mom is one of six. My dad is one of four. Like it is a massive family. And so for me, I was like, I can do the reception. So I just started a catering side hustle in college, being like, yeah, have your reception. I'll host it and cater everything. And here I am in my like college apartment
Yeah.
making like crock pots of meatballs and cheese trays and veggie trays. But that was kind of the start of me realizing like I have that ability to just be like, yeah, I can do that. I can figure that out.
Yeah.
And it was way more lucrative than my career path as a professional musician was going to be. So I ended up switching to business and entrepreneurship. And then I started another side hustle in college because I went to a major university, and it turned out that if you are in a field and you're a really good student, if you understand accounting and finance and econ, the academic departments will pay you as a tutor. So they were paying $15 per head for tutoring. And I was sitting there going, well, why do I only have to do one at a time? What if I get a group of 10 student athletes who all need to pass accounting? And then I'm getting paid $150, $200 an hour to prep kids for their accounting tests and their econ final. And so I started that business. And so I realized pretty quickly that I was going to go into entrepreneurship because that ability to just figure out how can I do better than a crappy part-time job in college really helped me get through a really time where I was broke
Yeah.
as a joke and needed some ways to get paid while also getting through,
Yeah.
working my way through college.
I love it. I love it. So you're a music person first and foremost. Do you still play music? Do you still have it in your life some way, somehow?
If we were in my living room, you would see I have the piano problem. I have a massive grand piano I've had to haul around for
Oh,
20
love
years.
it.
I have a stand-up bass in a corner because one of my kids plays stand-up bass. My other kid plays a viola. We have a
Perfect.
handful of
Love it.
guitars. We have like a million
Yes.
trombones, a French horn. It is insane.
Yeah. My baby number five was last night wanting to learn how to play piano, and he's 11. So he's the only one that I did not make take piano lessons. So he got
Mhm.
gypped out of that, which everybody like, oh my gosh, he didn't have to take piano lessons, but he now wants to learn and is pulling out the app and learning how to do it. And he's got the most beautiful singing voice ever. Just, oh, melts my heart. So yes,
I
I'm a
love
music
it.
person. I was a musical theater major. And I was just talking to a parent in my studio whose daughter is really, and this is for the listeners, um, daughter is really into dance and showing that she really wants to do it. And you can just see the fear in the mom's eyes, like, oh my God, my daughter doing dance, what is she going to make a living at? And I'm like, there are so many friends of mine who were
Yeah.
in the arts and like full on in the arts and are massive like business owners, directors of executive directors of organizations because of the figure it out mentality, of the practice and dedication that it takes in the arts to be really, really good.
Yes.
The discipline there, just, and a lot of us had those side hustles because we were good at our
Yep.
craft. So then we were teaching others and we were able to
Exactly.
organize and do that. So I'm just blown away
Absolutely.
at how many people in the art, like, what, don't, the arts are so important. So I'm so glad you're a music person too. And in that.
1,000%. And like one of my kids my twins are going to high school next year, and one of them got into the visual arts program. And I had so
Mm,
many people like, are you sure you want Lee to go into that? Shouldn't they go into something more practical? And I'm sitting here going, that translates in so many different ways. Plus, they're my kids, so they're going to learn
amen.
things in my business. Like already they're doing graphic design in my business, and I'm
Mhm,
like, you don't think a background in art will be helpful in multiple ways in the future? Like
mhm,
everything is so visually driven. You need
mhm,
artists, you need
mhm,
musicians, you need people who see things differently. Otherwise, we end up in a world where everything looks like a concrete box.
Oh, I love it. Okay. All right. There's our side tangent, y'all. So, all right. So I could talk all day on that. But let's get back to business because I enjoy talking about that too.
Yes.
So, Racheal, tell our audience what you do, who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
So, my business is the CEO Collective. We specialize in working with women entrepreneurs who are running expert based businesses. They are bringing their experience, education, and expertise to their clients in a variety of manners, but usually through service based offers. And what we specialize in is helping them scale their business to multiple six and seven figures without working harder and putting those
Mhm,
system strategy and support in place so that they can do that without giving up their health, their family, their personal time. You can actually have a life while you build your business.
Speaking to the choir. Yes. Health, that is where I'm seeing myself and other people. Like that's where it goes first is your health. You drive, you hustle, you go, go, go.
Yes.
And you can do that for a while and then life happens. And yeah.
If you don't slow down and take care of yourself, your body will force you to. And I
Mm-hmm.
experienced that when
Mm-hmm.
I was getting out of my MBA program. I went right into the traditional consulting world, and it took about 2.5 years before my body started
Mm-hmm.
completely breaking down from 80-hour weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was like, okay, there's got to be a completely different way
Mm-hmm.
forward. And that was
Yeah.
the tipping point for me launching my own business because I realized I could not do that. I could not give myself the next 40 years of just grind and hustle in a
Mm-hmm.
traditional environment. I needed to find a different way.
Well, you're very good in hustling 80 hours a week in your own business because so many people do that too. Then they transfer that into their own business. So
Yep,
um,
they bring terrible habits straight over and then never. And that's funny for me because literally light bulbs go off when I'm talking to people and I'm like, I've only worked 25 hours a week for the last 15 years. I set my business up that way. And
Mhm,
so many people are like, but how do you do that? And I'm like, well, I designed it that way. I didn't try to retrofit it. You
mhm,
have to be very, very intentional with what you're doing, how your business model works, what marketing channels you choose, what delivery you choose, because there are some models that just won't work. So you have to be very deliberate and intentional.
okay, well, let's lean into that a little bit. So, what does
Yeah.
your typical week look like to
Yeah.
get yourself to working 25 hours a week?
So I follow what I call a model calendar. It's something I teach and I've followed this forever, which is essentially time blocking. Like
Mhm,
I have very specific blocks of time throughout my week when I do the most important things in my business. So Mondays are always my CEO day. I start it with a CEO date where I'm checking in on everything going on in my business. I have a whole checklist that I follow in order to really make sure I'm on top of what we had prioritized for our 90-day plan. Then I have my team meeting. And then after that, I focus on whatever CEO level development I need to focus on. Tuesdays are client facing days usually. So most of my clients are all in a group container. So those calls happen on Thursdays. But on Tuesdays, I open up my calendar for one-off sessions. So most of my clients in the CEO Collective will have a one-off session with me a couple times through their time with us over a year. And so those are great because that's when I know Tuesdays, all I'm doing is talking to people. I don't have to
mhm,
think about anything else, just sit down,
mhm,
stay focused on the clients that I have on my calendar.
mhm,
Wednesdays are a no call day. I do not have any calls. I do not have any meetings on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are my chance to do deep work. And most of my role in my business is in the content side of things. So for me, that is working on my podcast, Promote Yourself to CEO. I'm working on wrapping up a certification program we've been running this year. So I'm always creating some sort of content on Wednesdays. And then Thursdays are dedicated to my group in the CEO collective. And so they have multiple different calls going on. I have a strategy and support call that I run for the whole group on Thursdays. And then Thursday evenings, I have the certified professionals group that I'm wrapping up right now, who are learning how to use our methodology with their own clients. Then Fridays are Flex Fridays.
Mhm.
Right now it's summer as we're recording this, so I don't work on Fridays.
Mhm.
This is my time off. But I like to have that time in the event that I want to connect with people, have lunch with people. I have really made an intentional focus in Richmond, where I live, to build a lot of relationships here. And
Mhm.
so almost every Friday, I'm going out to lunch with
Mhm.
somebody or connecting with somebody, because those relationships, one, they fuel me. Like, you need
Mhm.
people who are friends and colleagues and peers in your life. And so sometimes that's all it is just connecting on
Mhm.
that peer friend level. And sometimes it's business focused, like, hey, let's collaborate and do this together, or let's
Mhm.
focus on this thing. So yeah, that's pretty much what my week looks
Yeah.
like. Most
Yeah.
days I start at 10 and I wrap up by 2 or 3,
Perfect. Ideal.
which is perfect
Awesome.
for me because then
Yeah.
I can have a slow morning, which I need. I
Mhm.
like having a slow morning.
Mhm.
And then in the afternoon, I get home and go to the gym with the kids, and we all do our little workout together and then have the rest of our family time.
Awesome. Awesome. That's so awesome that you've grown it that way and are able to do that. That's amazing. Well done. So, okay. So growing a business, you talk about the Flex Friday. I'm super, on board with that too. Connection. I'm having a lunch meeting today. Just purely for that relationship connection, business strategic,
Yeah,
growth, like what's the latest? Tell me what's the latest and, growing that.
exactly.
So how do you talk about growing your business outside of marketing. So what does that mean and how does that look?
So for me, this is referral and relationship focused. I tell my clients all the time, business grows at the speed of relationships. And that
Mm,
means you need to get away from your screen and you need to go out into the real world and meet people face to face, especially if you're a local business, because that's how businesses grow in local environments. If you
mhm,
are hoping that like people are going to magically find your website, or you're just going to build connection through like having Zoom meetings or something, nothing will accelerate a relationship faster than just meeting face to face.
mhm,
So that's one of the biggest things I try to tell people. And the biggest thing I hear back is, but I'm a super introvert. I don't like going out all the time. I don't want my calendar to be filled with useless coffee dates, or I hate going to events because I never find people I'm trying to connect with
mhm,
there.
mhm,
So I think the biggest thing there is you have to be clear about who you're trying to connect with. And just like we talk about building an ideal client profile, you need like ideal relationship profiles here. Like,
mhm,
if you're trying to build a referral network locally, you need to think about who is the ideal relationship, who are the ideal types of people I want to partner with, and actually break it down. Like, what are their values? What is their business focused on? Who is their ideal client? And get really, really specific. So then you can start asking people, who do you know who is values are like this, who serves this client, who's in a complementary space? I want to connect with these types of people.
mhm,
And I think that's the simplest, easiest way to get the ball rolling, because people know people,
mhm,
right? And there are going to be some people who aren't as connected, but there are also going to be the super connectors, the ones who kind of know everybody because they love going out and networking. And
mhm,
those are the people who once I find them, I'm like, you're my new BFF. You're going to
mhm,
be my business wing woman. We are going to go out and build some connection in this community.
mhm. Or be strategic about, okay, every quarter I'm meeting with them for lunch and catching up. Because I'm that person.
Literally.
I'm the introvert, y'all. Like everybody doesn't believe me, but I am. And it's hard for me to go to networking events. So I find the ones that I
Yeah.
like because there's definitely ones I don't. And there's ones that I like, and I'm like, okay, I will commit to that one. And then I know what I like. I like one-on-one. And I know that takes longer, but for me, it's very intentional about who do you know? Who else do you know that I should meet? You know who I do, you know who I am, what I do, who I
Yeah,
serve, and vice versa. And I'm always like, when somebody meets me, I'm always like, oh, you should meet. Do you know?
exactly.
Do you know this
Yes.
person? You should meet them. Let me connect you. And then they're easily they'll do the referral back to you, and usually if they're good. And if they're not, then it's not a match. It's like dating, y'all.
It is like dating, but I do find that you facilitating that first connection is crucial. And I think this is the big thing. A lot of people, when it comes to building relationships and building referral relationships, they kind of wait and hang back for the other person to initiate it. But I find you've just got to be brave and say, oh my God, I know exactly who I should connect you with, because that reciprocity is real. They will kick
Yes.
into, oh, thanks for making this connection. Who can I connect you with? And
Mhm.
then you can go back to them. I'm looking for connections with this type of business owner serving this type of client who has these types of values. I would love an email connection. And you've already shown them exactly what that email connection would look like because you did a connection. So they can literally copy that format and use
Yes.
it to share who they think you should be connected with. So I have a client here in Richmond who's a chiropractor.
Mm-hmm.
And when she started working with me, it was a referral because it was during the pandemic. I was working with a personal trainer who used to come and work out with us in the driveway. Remember those days?
Oh gosh, yes.
But so I had hurt my back and she was like, you need to go see my friend, this chiropractor. And so as we moved her, she became a client because you start talking about what you do. And then she's like, I need to work with you. And I was like, great, I'd love that. Got her into her own space. As she started building out her own space, she has a specialty in pre and postnatal moms. So pre and postnatal care, working with babies. We built out her entire office to be centered on pre and postnatal moms. Like if you're a mom, you're going to walk in there in the bathroom, there's a changing table. There's a
Mm-hmm.
whole little nursing room just for nursing moms. Every section has like a little basket full of toddler toys because you know they're going to have to bring their kids when they come in. So
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing is set around that. But literally, we did this whole strategy when she moved into this brand new space and was designing it specifically for pre and postnatal moms. It was like, let's make a list of everyone we know. Who's a doula? Who's a midwife? Who's a lactation consultant? Who's a nutritionist? Like, who's a pediatrician? The list kept growing and growing. And now there's this incredible, thriving community in Richmond of anyone who's involved in pre and postnatal moms. They all these small businesses now collaborate and support each other. They host workshops together. They write for each other's newsletters. They promote each other's things coming up on social media. And none of it feels forced or like, we signed an agreement that you have to share 3 times a week or something. But it feels very organic and supportive. Like this is a whole community for moms and babies. And we're just going to keep sharing resources that are local here in our community that
Mm-hmm.
will help you. And it
Mm-hmm.
all starts for something as simple as that, as emailing people, as setting up times to talk, and then coming up with ways that you can support each other.
Mm-hmm. And I just my brain is buzzing because this is so needed and wanted and desired in order for businesses to
Yeah.
grow right now. It really is about that, the community aspect of what you can
Yeah.
bring your community, your people. So for those of you that don't know, I have a dance studio. So I have a dance studio and I'm offering master classes and dance classes and stuff, but I'm like, I want to build a community of, we have young families. So how about bringing in a parent coach one night? Or how about bringing in a nutritionist or that chiropractor for the
Yeah.
postnatal? I mean, they're a little, but chiropractor, physical therapist, or those things that build community that, oh my gosh, she gets us. She gets where we're at in life,
Yeah.
and, and being that resource for people. And then also that feel good out to the community. It shows out in the community that you're working together and people love that warm fuzzy. And then back to the SEO side, you guys, you create your SEO and build your SEO that way by highlighting it in your blog and in your newsletter and linking those businesses, and it helps the organic of the Google. So that's going into that
Absolutely.
aspect of it. But it's that is where it is. It's not about shouting above the masses to be heard. It's really about, okay, how can we work together? Who can I work together? And sometimes you just need, thank you. What you said, it just helped me like yes, I need to, I just went, who do I need to connect with? You just rattled off. And I was like, yep, yep, yep. Thank you. Thank you.
And
Cause sometimes you
it's
need that.
starting and it's starting that process. And one thing I often teach people, we call it like the business announcement email. We actually have a whole template. Like if there's something new coming in your business, which let's face it, for a lot of brick and mortar businesses, there's seasonal things happening in our
Yeah.
businesses. When is the last time you reached out to your local referral network to tell them in advance,
Mm,
here's what's coming up at my business? You're sharing that information with them and then you make it, reciprocal. What's coming up on your calendar? When you start setting that expectation that we are going to promote everything in a communal way, what starts to happen is like, one, you don't need to depend on very expensive and time consuming marketing, which is the biggest thing I hear from small business owners.
hmm
The ads budgets get really hard and you have to really be an expert to make the ads budgets work. If there's any sort of, uncertainty anywhere, they don't want to spend money on ads. But if you have a list of like 10 people and you are all saying like, hey, here's what's coming up this quarter in my business or this season in my business. Could you share this a few times in your newsletter and you give them the blurb or on social and you give them the content? Suddenly it becomes really easy to spread the word with a very low lift. You're
hmm
just asking these people and it's reciprocal is the big thing. It has to be reciprocal. You have to be willing to give and
hmm
take with the other people. But I find just the act of keeping up with who are these people, reaching out to them, either having lunch in person, nurturing those relationships, and then once a quarter or once a season, telling them, here's what's coming up. Let's share with each other. I find that goes such a long way.
Oh my gosh, it so does. It so does. I'm like I said, I hope you guys are all like your brains are buzzing with ideas of who to connect to in your community. This is so huge. I've been in business 15 years and it doesn't stop. I
No.
just joked with somebody. I said, they always say running a business is like running a marathon, except the marathon eventually ends, but this one doesn't. You just keep going. You keep going. And
Yep.
there's always new people and new businesses and new connections to be made. It's so important. I love this. I love this.
Mhm.
Um, so we touched on this business growth other than like the classic marketing. You
Yeah.
have a referral process. Do you want to touch on that?
Yes, I do. Actually, I'm teasing this out right
Yeah,
now in my own
tease it.
community because this is one of the things that I find, and I kind of mentioned this before, is for most small businesses, when they look at like where their clients are coming from, I often give the assignment, where did your last 10 clients come from? And if 7 or 8 of them came from referrals and you don't have a clear referral process, you're just kind of crossing your fingers and hoping they show up, we got to implement some things. So the first
hmm
thing I tell my clients all the time is you have to have a proactive referral strategy. And what makes it proactive is you're giving referral opportunities.
Mm,
What do I mean by that? If you're just saying, we love referrals, thank you, then that is not a referral opportunity. You are putting all the work on that client or that referral partner. They don't know what you want. They don't know who you want. That's like asking your friends to set you up with, a blind date, but you're not saying,
tall,
who
dark, and
is your
handsome.
type? Yeah, right. Like, who's your type? What are you looking for? So you're going to get anybody. And if that's how you're approaching your referral strategy, then guess what? You're going to get anybody and they're not going to know who to send your way.
Okay.
So I love creating referral opportunities. The biggest thing is make it simple for your client. So here's something I just did that anybody can steal. I'm a big fan of businesses building client bases and looking at the lifetime customer value of each client who comes in your door. It takes so much time and energy to get a new client in your door, but if they are leaving after 3 months or 6 months or a year, then you are going to spend all of your time marketing to replace them. But I've had clients who've stuck around and worked with me for over a decade. And the reason they do that is because I keep giving them opportunities to return. And I also leverage these opportunities, these referral opportunities that have them facilitate introduction. So something I did recently was for my CEO retreat. This is a quarterly event that we run where we're helping small business owners go through our 90-day CEO planning process. And so far, I have done about 60 retreats over the last 6 years. Like
Awesome.
we have this retreat down to a science. If you need someone to teach you how to do a 90-day plan, I'm gonna brag, I'm the best because I've done this
Awesome.
so many times with hundreds of small business owners. So what I did for this referral opportunity that I put together was usually June is our smallest retreat because
Yeah.
it's June. It's in the summer, people are wrapping up school, going on vacation. So in March, I had my team pull a list of every single person who has attended a CEO retreat in the last 6 years. So we had that list. Then we went on Canva and we made a cute little postcard. It's our 4-year anniversary of rebranding my entire business to the CEO Collective. So we put together a special offer just for our former clients, anyone who's attended a CEO retreat in the past, and with them to come at a discounted price and bring a friend at a discounted price.
Mhm.
So we sent out about 300 cards with that offer. And only in phase 1 right now, we have had a 12x ROI of that initial send of cards. It cost me
Awesome.
like under $500 to do this.
Good.
But already we had at last week's in-person event, we had 10 people who were friends brought by a former client or a current client.
Good.
That is huge because the lifetime value of a client for me is close to $15,000. I didn't have to run ads for those clients. They
Mhm.
all came in super excited. They flew across the country to come to
Mhm.
this event because someone they trusted who has worked
Yes.
closely with me said, I've been telling you about this event. She just made this offer. You have to come with me. It was such an easy referral opportunity because, yes, they paid to attend, they got a great discount, but it gave that client who had been telling them about coming to this thing the reason to be like, you can't miss this. I promise you it's going to be worth it.
Mm.
So creating referral opportunities is about making it easy for that client to bring someone. And
Mhm.
these could be a client bring a friend offer. I love client bring a friend because it makes it feel like an easier way in for people, right? They've got a
Mhm.
wingman coming into
Mhm.
that event or that program or whatever it is, who's kind of going to show them the ropes and make them feel a little bit more comfortable coming. So I think
Mhm.
client bring a friends are one of the most like underutilized strategies that you can put out there.
Mhm.
And they can be so incredibly easy if you host events, if you host workshops, if you like you're a dance studio. I used to work with a ton of dance and yoga studios and fitness studios. Have a bring a friend event around,
Mhm.
introducing people to your studios. The number one reason that people don't go to a fitness studio, a dance studio, a yoga studio is because they don't know what to expect and they
Yeah.
don't want to feel out of
Intimidating.
place or
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah.
But they're a lot more likely to go if their friend is going with them.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
how can you leverage that and literally turn every client you have into an ambassador who's now going to invite people to come to something?
Mhm.
The big piece here, final note on creating this type of referral opportunity with a client, bring a friend, is having it be timely and having it be special is kind of important. If this is just kind of an all the time thing, like, hey, you can just bring a friend anytime you want, people need a little bit of like urgency and scarcity in order to take action, which I know nobody likes to hear about, but it's the honest truth. Anybody who does any marketing knows that it needs to be like a one-time offer or a once in a while offer so that it
Mhm.
feels special and so that you get a lot of people to it.
Okay.
The good news about that is, though, you can create this in your studio very, very easily, right? You could
Mhm.
you could create that by creating a one-time event that is all about bring a friend. It's all about bring a referral in. And the whole point is to be fun for them, to help engage them and help them see a little bit of a taste of what this experience could be like. It's a way for them to kind of test drive your community and your experience
Mhm.
without a full membership or a full commitment like of classes or what have you.
Mhm. Love it. Love it. Just such good reminders. And I'm sure many of you listening, it's not new material, but it's nice to be reminded and being like, oh, we could tweak it just a little bit. And that's so much what this is, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
you'll hear stuff and you'll be like, they said it just a little bit different. I've been taking it. I always give my students a ballet example. I've been doing plies for 35 years, but you hear another teacher explain it, and it's
Mhm.
just this beautiful light bulb that goes, "Ah, now I get it. Now I get it better. It's awesome. So good. Such good
Exactly.
things. Such good things. Racheal, I am super excited about this conversation and what you shared with us. Can you tell us a little bit about your retreats? Because you said you do them
Yeah.
quarterly. Tell us about that. Tease that out a little bit as before we wrap
We
up here.
We do. The CEO retreat has become kind of the cornerstone of all of my work. My whole methodology is called the 90-day CEO operating system, and it started when I started running these retreats. So I learned early on in working with small businesses that a lot of the women I work with are amazing visionary entrepreneurs. They have these big ideas, big dreams, and where the disconnect sometimes happens is in taking those big dreams and ideas and reverse engineering them into check offable plans, meaning plans that you can then hand to your team and get support implementing, plans that we're going to change after a couple months because you forgot what your goals were. So we built this whole retreat around a 90-day planning process that is designed to build what we call your client growth engine. So that's your marketing, your sales, and your client delivery, and help you to start building more rinse and repeat systems into your business. We host these retreats every quarter. I host them in person in Richmond, Virginia, and I also host them virtually because I know that not everybody can come every quarter. But we are in the middle of I actually have one coming up this week. We have more coming up in September, December, March, June, every
Hmm.
year for the past 6 years, not going anywhere anytime soon. But if you're interested in learning more, come check out all the details at the ceocollective.com. We have a lot of videos and things of past retreats so you can get a feel for how we work and what we do.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And then you mentioned a podcast. Do you have a podcast?
I do have a podcast. It's called Promote Yourself to
Yes.
CEO. Um, I love podcasting. It's one of my favorite ways to connect and share with people. So you will find a ton of content. We have a
Yeah.
lot of resources over there. Highly encourage if you're a podcast listener, if you like this podcast, you'll probably enjoy mine, where I get a lot more into the strategy and systems to build more rinse and repeat into your business, which is what really allows you to
Yes.
be able to implement a team and step out a little bit more so you can really enjoy the perks of being a business
Amen.
owner.
Amen. So you can truly get to that 25, 20-hour work week because that's where it is. It's the
Yes.
systems. Um,
Yep. Absolutely.
you can always make your systems better, tighter, leaner, cleaner. And I kind of geek out on it a bit. I recently received the benefit of having great systems. My dad passed away 2 weeks ago, and
Oh my gosh.
it was the last month of May. We were in hospital and then hospice, and coincidentally, that happens to be the busiest time of year for my studio because that's recital
Yeah.
season and end of year season,
Yeah.
and my team was amazing, and everything was documented and there. And was it
Yep.
perfect? No, but it was pretty darn close where I said, sorry, guys, I'm on Voxer if you need me, but they didn't bug me. They let me have my time and with family. And it was just this bittersweet, beautiful moment of being like, all right, what I created, because we had a diagnosis
It's
for 4 years
working.
ago. I knew in 4 years I have to be able to step out at a moment's notice. And so I gave myself some time, but it just little by little. And just because you have systems doesn't mean they can't get better. And that's what I love because that's the whole
Yeah.
point of this. Nobody owns you. You get to run your business. You get to run your time. You get to manage your time and have your time. And it's the one thing that I just so appreciate being a business owner is that I don't mind
Yeah.
working. I don't mind working hard, but I get to decide when I work and how I work and where I work. So,
I love that you shared that because that's literally one of the driving things for me. My mom has been disabled since 1987, and I knew the time would come where I'd have to step in and make sure to manage her care. And that happened right in 2019. She needed full-time nursing care.
mm,
And so literally same, like I run her full-time nursing team. We have 8 different
mm,
nurses coming in and out of her house because my goal was to keep her at home. That's what she wanted.
yeah,
And having a business that has allowed me to, I mean, I've got 3 kids, 14-year-old twins, 11-year-old. My husband's a stay-at-home dad. I'm
awesome.
working 20, 25 hours a week. I'm taking care of my mom and paying for full-time nursing care and keeping her in her home, which is what I really wanted. I'm wrapping down my dad's businesses. And I think it's not a matter of if, but when
Mhm,
your life will require you to be able to really test your systems and see how
mhm,
well they work. And I have to say, there's nothing better than knowing, like, if at a moment's notice, one of my mom's nurses calls and is like, we've got to take your mom to the hospital for
mhm.
XYZ, I can be like, no worries. I can send 2 messages to my team. They
Done.
can manage everything and I can go be with her.
Yeah.
And I think there's nothing better than that,
Yeah.
knowing that you can be there for your family or the people that you care about, the people that you love. And I think that's what we as a society are all starting to wake up to, that
Mhm,
being controlled, having our time controlled by other people and being told we can or can't have time off to
mhm.
take care of our life or our family, or being told, we can't have bereavement time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so tired of all of that. I feel like this is how we do business differently. This is how
Mhm,
we're setting up businesses for the future generations.
mhm,
It actually acknowledge and take care of our humanity and
mhm,
allow us to be whole humans, not just, robots who create something
mhm,
for the
mhm,
gazillionaires out there. Anyway,
mhm,
that's
mhm.
my soapbox there. And
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of making sure more women have that kind of freedom and
Mhm.
flexibility.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I appreciate your work in the world of business here and sharing your knowledge today. I got so much value out of it. I took a lot of notes. I
I
hope you
love
guys
it.
did too. I have some great quotes from you. I'm super excited to share. So, everybody, check out Racheal Cook on her podcast. That'll be linked below. I will also have your retreat link below for people. Do you have anything else you want to share with our audience?
Oh my goodness. I don't even know what's coming up in the next few months, but yeah, if I would say the biggest thing is just go connect with me on the website, come connect with me on social. I'm ridiculously predictable because every 90 days I run a retreat.
I think we'd get along really well because I'm pretty predictable too.
I am the most predictable person on the
Mhm.
planet. I love my routines and my systems
Mhm.
because they
Yeah.
keep me sane and they keep my business growing without a lot of stress. So
Yes.
I would
Awesome.
love to share more with anybody who wants to learn about how we do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Racheal. And everybody
Thanks.
else, we will see you here, same time, same place next week. Have a great week. Peace. Bye bye.
Perfect.